my name's Kelsey, and today we're gonna be diving into terrazzo tables, or you know what, I'm just gonna say it, faux terrazzo tables, because I tried terrazzo kind of the real way, and it didn't go so well for me. I had 2 failed attempts. Hold on, I realized that I might need to explain what the frick terrazzo is because it's not overly obvious. Terrazzo is a flooring or countertop material made up of chips of marble, glass, granite, etc. and it's set in a concrete and polished for a very smooth finish. Some terrazzo might remind you of your middle school flooring, but terrazzo is seriously having a giant home decor trend comeback right now, and I'm looking to make a slab of it to go on my kitchen island to give me some stylin' extra counter space. All right, let's continue on with my stories of my past terrazzo fails. I think the vlog channel saw, so if you're not subscribed to the vlog channel, you should do that, link below. The first attempt, I built a mold out of wood, and then we got concrete, and I smashed a bunch of like mugs and different pieces of ceramic, and then I laid them in the concrete, let it dry, but once it was dry, it wasn't even, which means that, I mean, the whole thing was out the window because I guess I could add more cement, but I just wasn't overall happy with how it was going. So on to the second attempt, I did the same thing. I used the exact same mold. I actually bought a new concrete that was a little bit whiter because that was one thing I didn't like about the first version. And same thing, I smashed up some glass. I focused a little bit more on glass this time instead of ceramics because when I was sanding it down, I didn't want to lose the color. To make sure that the pieces were not sticking out when this was done, we actually buried them a little bit, but some of them ended up being buried more than others. So once the concrete was dry, I had to sand it a bunch, like way too much to recover or show some of the glass pieces. And even after that, I still wasn't that happy with it, but I went on to add the clear coat, and guess what? Used the wrong type of clear coat, so it gave it this whole yellowy green tint, which was absolutely disgusting. And when I tried to sand that off, I just gave up. And we were able to make this one a little bit smoother, but it does have some big cracks in it, which is kind of unfortunate. So here we are, our final and third attempt. You guys wouldn't let me live it down that I failed these DIYs. You said that you wanted to see me try to tackle terrazzo. Instead of doing it with concrete and stone, which I did the previous times, I'm gonna do it this time with some wood and paint. It's going to be a little less authentic, but way easier, I think. Let's get started. So to tackle this new method of making a terrazzo table, I picked up a piece of like 16-inch by like 8-foot white melamine shelving, and I chose this because this is the one that came as deep as I needed it to be without buying like plywood and painting it and stuff. This is already white. I'm gonna give it a quick sand. I wanna like maybe just kind of like round the corners just a little bit since I feel like most tables don't have a very sharp edge, or at least stone. And now I'm just adding a coat of this white chalk paint. I know the board's already white, but there are some exposed edges of the particle board, which is inside the shelving. So chalk paint is really good for not showing brush marks. So once I get this on, hopefully it will self-level and we won't see any brush strokes. I'm all done this first coat. I don't know how many coats it's gonna take, but while this dries, I'm gonna go ahead and pick out my color palette for all of my terrazzo stones, aka paint, that I wanna have on my terrazzo slab here. I didn't buy any colors. I just thought that we would have all the colors that I would want. So let's just go to the paint cupboard.
Come on, let's go.
Follow me. It's a little messy back here, but don't worry about that. Okay, so my apartment has lots of like, well, we have gray, so maybe I'll do a gray. My wall is gray. We have a gray. I also have like blushes and nudes. And then also browns. I have like brown black splash, although I doubt we have a brown because Claire's shaking her head. Mauve pink. Well, obviously we have a vibe. I think I want to make like a little bit of a custom color, and also I was thinking if the paint isn't like mixed perfectly when I go to put it on, it might look more like stone because it'll be like, because I'm gonna use sponges. So I think it'll be like discolored, which I think will make it look more like stone because stone is not like a perfect exact shade, you know? That's my plan. So palette is chosen. The way I'm going to apply all these colors is with some sponges that we got, and I was going to like cut them into kind of like triangle, trapezoid type shapes, and then just like sponge on all of these triangular shapes. I can also use a paintbrush to like add little bits. Oh yeah, we were making those phone holders for Christmas, and I did one that was terrazzo like pattern, and I just did that with a paintbrush, and I thought it looked really good. So I think I'm gonna use a combo of sponges and paintbrushes to get this job done. So I have my sponges cut in a variance of sizes. I might need more, I don't know, we'll see how it goes once I start dabbing, mini dab. But next up, I'm going to work on my leg since I'm still waiting for this chalk paint to dry. We're almost there, we're almost there. Oh, there's a thick spot there. So I actually have this dowel that we made when I was doing this like last time, or maybe even the first time, I don't know. But basically it's just a thick piece of dowel and stained brown to match kind of like the browns in my apartment. We're gonna be making our own table leg, which I've actually never done before, but apparently it's not that hard. You guys have seen these plates. We use them all the time to attach legs to furniture. And if you wanna make your own using a method like this, whether it's a dowel or something else, whatever you're making your leg out of, you just need a bolt that is the right size to go in here into your plate. And then all we need to do is drill a hole that we can then put this bolt in. My only concern is how I'm going to actually put this bolt in here. I just don't know how hard it's gonna be, but I'm gonna be drilling a hole, putting this bolt in, and then I just made a furniture leg. So we actually figured out that the best technique is to have somebody hold the bolt with some grippy pliers while somebody else turns the piece of wood. Okay. Let's try that. Oh yeah. Look at that. Woo. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Yeah. Beauty guru. Okay, so I picked my palette, I cut my sponges, my leg is made, and finally, my tabletop is dry. So I'm just gonna give it a light sand now with the finest sandpaper that we have to get rid of these brush strokes that are kind of there. I don't know if that was my fault. I read the can after I was almost done painting, and it said apply like one coat, like don't go back and forth like this. You just go like one coat and then it self-levels. Like if you start putting a bunch of coats, then it gets sticky and the brush strokes won't smooth out. So that might have been my bad, but anyways, I'm gonna brush away some of these brush strokes. Okay, I have it sanded down. I mean, you can still kind of see brush strokes, but honestly, I think it's fine. And I'm going to be putting all of my like dabbed terrazzo pattern on it, so that's gonna help hide it. And I'm going to give the whole thing a really thick like clear coat at the end, maybe multiple layers and coats, so that it looks like this shiny kind of all together piece of stone and not like brushed wood with dabbed paint. So I'm going to be mixing a little bit of my colors. Like I said, I want to give the stone stamp effect like a little bit of dimension, so it's not just like one color, because I feel like a lot of the stone pieces that are in terrazzo have like some texture and different colors to them. And then I'm gonna get to dabbing. So I'm done painting on all my little blobs. I'm really liking how it looks, and I think that this clear coat is gonna bring it all together, but first, I'm gonna let this dry, then I can start the clear coats. I added a little clear coat on this just so it didn't look like raw wood, and now it looks a little bit cuter. And I sanded off that first coat a little bit just to smooth it out, but I'm still seeing brush marks. I did some YouTubing and I found that I should use a really fine grit. So I'm gonna get some sandpaper that is about 330 grit, so super fine. And I'm also gonna get a sanding block because you want like a smooth sanding block to be holding it instead of just like your hand or a block of wood. And also a rubbing pad. I've never used this, but apparently it's going to help me buff it and keep the shine after I've sanded it down for smoothness. Sand for smooth, buff for shine. 400. She's smooth. 1500.
Is that good?
It's like a baby's bottom. What grit is a baby's bottom?
Does it even do anything?
Just sanding my sandpaper to make it more clean. So I'm just using that fine grit that I bought. I ended up getting the 440, I think. 400. 400, because the guy at Home Depot was like, get a finer one. And I was like, okay, man, that's cool, I'll do that. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this baby smooth or like remove the brush strokes, but I'm gonna do the best I can, and then I'm going to use this buffing pad thing that I got. Again, this isn't exactly what the tutorial said, but I wanted something soft. I think that the tutorial wanted me to use like steel wool type thing, and I was like, that is gonna destroy my table. So we're gonna use this, and then this. This is my final piece. There are still a little bit of brush strokes, but overall I'm really happy with it. The palette is perfect. I'm loving it. I can't wait to see it in my space. But lastly, we need to put on this leg. This leg right here. I got it. I'm just gonna screw this into the bottom, and then using some stickies, I think I'm going to put it onto the part of my calyx that's in my kitchen, for my kitchen island, and then it'll be done. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's video. I hope you like this little redemption tour that we took. It's all thanks to you guys. You really wanted to see this terrazzo table, and thank you for pushing me to do it because I love how it turned out. If you guys actually want to see a video or 3 videos of me styling this whole apartment, I actually have a series on that. It'll be linked below. You can see how this whole apartment came together, and this was just one little final touch that I never got to do earlier. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure that you give it a like, and if you love it, make sure you sub it. We'll see you next time. Bye. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. I want to give a quick little shout out to Mix Takes Pics. This DIY is so cute for little baby. Oh my gosh, I actually screamed out loud when I saw this picture in the office. I thought it was so adorable. If you guys want to share your DIY creations with us, use the hashtag SorryGirls Squad, and you may be featured in the end slate, but we'll definitely like your photo on Instagram.